Hey, Adhpa here. I had an interesting question come to me on my Facebook channel, and if anybody's interested, you can find a link to that in the description below. I'm always looking for comments, stuff to talk about, to think about in the context of this energy experimentation that this channel is about. So, channels for entertainment purposes only. Just kind of working through a philosophy I have about human dynamics and working with energy and various frequencies and sort of that whole thing. Anyway, the question that I had that I'm going to talk about for this week was regarding how moon cycles affect the energies. So first I want to say that I came to this whole experimentation purely from a personal interest point of view, by experiencing things, energies, learning some about the natural world, biology. I was really focused on zoology and animal, wildlife, biology in particular was always an interest of mine, and so I always developed my knowledge and skills through personal research on those topics, along with some university studies on it, though it wasn't my major. So at any rate, I had come obviously to an understanding that there are moon cycles and the effects that it has on the planetary oceans and waves, but I started working with that to see, how does that affect other living things? So obviously people know about farmers' almanacs and that so forth, and they very much work on a moon sign, moon phase for doing various things. So my understanding, as I'm going to discuss it, comes from that long study and then putting into practice various things to see how it actually functions and works for me. As I said, I live from these principles. And so for me, they're very real, but I'm trying to figure out if this is something that's replicable, if what I do and understand about energy and use in my path of life is applicable to other people, or is this some, personal delusion or whatever it is. So anyway, the whole point of this channel is just to discuss the topics and put some concepts out there of things that I have found that are working, to see if other people will have an experience of them, or will take them up and try them and report back an experience of them, anything like that, or just discuss the philosophy in general. So my basic understanding that I've come to with the moon cycles through all of this is that you have a cyclical pull on the earth, and that pull changes depending on the position of the moon, the phase of the moon, um, along with the rotation of the earth, creating, changes in tides and so forth, tidal movement. But those things also affect other energies. So my experience, I'm going to discuss slightly my philosophy, and then I'm going to do a throw with the tarot cards to see, when I when I pull in energy from that energy field and translate it through the tarot reading, the intuition, to see how well that matches with what we discuss, what I put out here as my philosophy. Just curiosity, see if I'm on the right track, or getting different feedback, or the cards leading somewhere else in their use as an intuitive tool. Okay, so the moon, as far as I understand it and the way that I have used working with the energy, follows a monthly cycle. And so you go from an apex to an apogee in a cycle. So at one point, the moon is between us and the sun, and at another time it's on the other side of us from the sun, and that's going to affect how the sun lights up the moon. And so we experience that as the moon cycle going from full to new. But what's happening there is you have a sun, has a very direct energy, and you have a moon, a body, a planetary body that's traveling around and comes between the sun and around to the back. And how that sun energy affects and is affected by the movement and gravity and pull of that moon is how we end up with these tides. And so what ends up being is that when you're in a new moon cycle, so the sun is on the other side of the moon from us, so we don't see the moon lighting up because the sun's on the other side of it. So it's coming between us and the sun. And it creates what creates a nurturing energy. It's like a growth, it's like a pulling out, and maybe that has to do with the pull of the moon as it's coming through that energy. But it's very much a growth thing. And so if it's gonna pull energy up and through and down, it's gonna have a stronger pull on that energy. And that translates into, a time to do things that you want to grow. It's a nurturing time. It's when you really want to feed growth. That could be planting, that can be harvesting and trimming so things will grow better. In a lot of ways, on a personal level, it's a good time for cutting your hair, cutting your nails, things that you want to grow strong and healthy and come back. So you prune on that cycle. When it goes around to the other side, now what's going on is energy is being pulled through and away. And that is really a time for releasing. The energy is literally can be pulled out and away. So you really want to look at that as a good clearing time. People's energies sort of come in instead of extending out. The energy of plants and stuff is pulled in, and there's a pulling out energy. So it's just a good weeding time. It's a really good time to pull weeds. Plants will pull into themselves, and then you can pull them out of the ground much easier, and then you get the whole root system. And so if you're pulling noxious plants out, for instance, it's time to do that. But any kind of weeding or cleaning is a good time to do deep cleaning. You'll find that things get cleared and they stay cleared. So I find that really effective for all kinds of medical things too. So if you're treating something, for instance, and you're trying to get rid of something like a bacteria, viral infection, something like that, on this moon cycle, you should find the medicines are much stronger. They have a stronger effect. They work better. And so if you can factor that in. All right, so that's kind of my theory on it. And it ties in as well to a 13 moon cycle energy-wise. In the 11:11 teachings, there are 13 moons. Each moon has its own energy with it. And I will delve into that at some point if people are interested and ask me specifically to do that. But in terms of this, we're just talking about the average monthly cycle of the moon. And I have done a video before talking about the days of the week. So you can sort of pull that in together. So you have these days of the week energy you're going through. Monday, intuition. Tuesday, karmic counsel. Wednesday, karma dharma. Thursday, medicine day. Friday, protection day. Saturday, antakarana. And then Sunday, light, sound, and vibration, harmonic day. And then that also works on the moon cycle. So you can imagine medicines given during a new moon cycle are going to be nourishing, growth, whatever it addresses is going to get stronger, that sort of thing. whereas moon medicines provide on the Thursdays, on the, you know, the weekly medicines on a full moon cycle are going to tend to be those that help to remove things. So you can look at those, tie those energies in together. All right, hold tight. I'll bring us down to the table here. Get a little sip of coffee from my Pendleton mug. Love Pendleton mugs. All right, hold on. Okay, so using the Aquarian Tarot Palladini deck, and what I'm going to do is just a quick shuffle here and ask the cards about moon cycles and what they can reveal about the monthly moon cycle. So the 4 quarters of the moon and the energies of the moon. So I'm just going to ask a general reading for the philosophy I've been discussing. What the cards have to show me. I got my little butterfly lit up back there to amuse us. All right. Let's see. What do the cards have to say about moon cycles? Oh, there's something very interesting. All right. The Hierophant. Earthly rulers of energies, spirit. So I would say that there's some, this is talking about how the moon acts on the earth. Moon as Hierophant, that's interesting. Challenged by Queen of Rods. Queen is internal, Rods is actions, passions, heart, internal actions. So the moon, or the control of the earth, the balance of the earth possibly is challenged by internal fire action. So that could be about the core of the earth. Has control over the base of it. 7 of Rods. Defending oneself. Oh, that's interesting. Is the moon somehow working in a protective, as a protector, as a defender of some sort? Past. 5 of Cups. Wonders. One does wonder, what was the moon before it was the moon? Was it another planet? What was its pre-existence? What was lost? What was it lost from? Crowning card. Ace of Rods. New passion. Internal passion. A new message. Brings in new messages. Keeps maybe the new passion. Maybe it provides growth. That's interesting, given what we were talking about. So, an agent of growth. And in the short term, Page of Rods. In the short term, a young messenger. A young messenger declaring, that's interesting. Wonder if that has to do with maybe the moon being a fairly young in the history of the planet of the Earth. Okay, and the card Temperance, and the card of the moon itself. What does the moon, what is the moon? Temperance, so it brings balance to the Earth. 7 of Swords, so that's interesting in the environment because that's a thief card. So again, one wonders, what was the past history of the moon? Did the Earth capture the moon, essentially steal it from its orbit? Was it something that traveled on some other orbit and then was captured by the Earth? Hopes and fears, 4 of Pentacles. And that's a card of consolidating one's power. Again, it's as if it's saying that the moon is there to help the earth, to protect the earth, to help the earth hold on to its place in the solar system and its position. And the outcome, very interesting, the Magician. Because of course that would indicate that it has a great effect. It operates in the role of a magician on the planet, directing things, moving things, which is sort of what we've been talking about with the energy in general. Base of the deck, King of Rods. And that's an external action, external passions. So I would say that in some way, this is saying that the way the energy works with the moon has to do with the internal fire of the planet and the effect of it, its pull on the molten core of the planet, and that has to do with the way the energy moves and operates through things. And I would say that it's definitely a yes to the reading in terms of my understanding of it. So that's what I got for you today. I have a little video to add on here at the end of our Manxie playing on the bed for the cat lovers out there. All right. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it if you've taken the time to watch this through. Leave a like, leave a comment. I'll do another reading next week.
What are you doing? What are you doing, our Manxie? What have you got there? What is it? Oh, this is playtime when making the bed. It's a favorite time. You silly boy. All right. Oh, so sweet.